Alrighty guys, we're back to go over 5 mono red decks for Phyrexia All Will Be One Standard. So what are the decks, huh? We have some red equipment to go over, rocking new cards like Rhuk and Rebel Salvo, which looks absolutely ridiculous. We have some goblins to go over today, a bunch of new goblins, huh? Gleeful Demolition means there's a small artifact theme going on in here too. Koth Midrange, even though midrange is definitely not my specialty, I wanted to play with Koth, and I might have found an alright fit for him. Mono Red Aggro, but we're rocking cards like Urabrask's Forge in here, which I think is actually going to be pretty decent, and cards like Volt Charge, which seems pretty good too, the Proliferate especially. Red Mayhem is the last but not least here. Sulfum Mayhem Dominus looks like such a cool build around card, and cards like Sawblade Scamp, I don't know, I need to test with it honestly. It looks pretty neat though, a little bit of a non-creature theme going on here. So if you guys like any of these lists and you just want to skip ahead, there is chapters down at the bottom of the video, and then in the description there will be timestamps as well. Also, if you do enjoy this style of video, please let me know in the comments, or just drop it a like, that lets me know as well. Either way, let's go ahead and hop into the deck lists, shall we? Okay, here we are taking a look at the first deck of the evening, Red Equipment. Let's go ahead and get started, huh? Oh, I should mention that one of the reasons I wanted to go over this one first was there's not too many new cards in it, so we're going to be able to go over it pretty fast. I'm only going to read the cards that we rarely ever see, okay? So we have a couple Eater of Virtue here, powerful legendary equipment. It's going to pair well with our Goldhound, huh? Let's just note that this is an artifact creature that counts as a treasure. We have a small treasure theme going on in here too. A couple Hammerhands, the fact that this is an aura is going to be important, which we'll go over in a second. Have all 4 rabbit batteries naturally, right? We have 3 sticky fingers, again with the auras. It's going to be important. We'll go over why in a second, but also, again, that small treasure theme in here, so sticky fingers is going to be nice. Gilded Pinions, one that we don't see too often, a 2 mana, and when it enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. Equipped creature has flying, and the equip cost is 2. We've actually ended games with Gilded Pinions. Honestly, being able to evade your opponent's creatures by giving your big old chunky creature that has all the equipments on it flying is actually pretty decent, huh? And again, small treasure theme. Couple Kami's Flare. Easy to get modified creatures in this deck because we're just equipping all of our equipped creatures into each other. So yeah, that extra 2 damage is easy to get through. All 4 Lizard Blades, the Double Strike is going to be huge in this deck, and Lizard Blades pairs beautifully with, of course, the Eater of Virtue again, huh? So a couple Ogre-Head Helms, it's an alright one. It's more important that this is just another equipment creature, so yeah. We have 4 Patchwork Automatons, very powerful creature, huh? We have 4 Thran Power Suits. Now this is a 2 mana equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each aura and equipment attached to it, and has ward too. The equip cost is 2 on here. Thran Power Suit is kind of awesome, huh? So yeah, for each aura as well, so Hammerhand and Sticky Fingers coming into play there as well. Yeah, Thran Power Suit, it's nice. I love the ward too as well, so. Couple professional face breakers in here, a reason to have the treasures, huh? So you can sacrifice a treasure, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn, which is really powerful when we have so many cheap things to play every single turn, you know? Also has Menace in and of itself, and whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure token, so very nice. I would say definitely worth having 2 of in here. Okay, now we get to the new cards, and they're kind of ridiculous, huh? 4 Rebel Salvos. This is a 3 mana instant speed affinity for equipment. So this spell costs 1 less to cast for each equipment you control. Okay, well what does it do then? Rebel Salvo deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker. That permanent loses indestructible until end of turn. Oh, okay? Is there a downside? I'm still looking for it. I feel like I'm just reading this card wrong or something. Like, I'm pretty sure the affinity for equipment counts stuff like Rabbit Battery too, because it says it right there on Rabbit Battery, right? Equipment rabbit. So yeah, most of the time this is just going to cost 1 red mana to deal 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker. And it loses indestructible. This is ridiculous, man. Definitely worth the 4 of. It's too bad we can't have 8 of them in here, huh? Just a quick way to clean up Sheoldred, I suppose. Okay, the other new card's pretty good too. Rhuk, Hexgold, Nabber. No idea how to pronounce this guy's name, but I'm going to go with Rhuk. So this is a 3 mana 2/2 legendary creature, Goblin Rebel, that's cool. Trample Haste. Whenever an equipped creature you control other than Rhuk attacks or dies, you may attach all equipment attached to that creature to Rhuk. That is sick, guys, and that's really cool when you have cards like Thran Power Suit in the same deck, and like the Lizard Blades to give the Rhuk the double strike as well. It could clean up a lot of games. Now, we only have 3 of them because it is legendary, but honestly, maybe it's just ridiculous and maybe we want 4. This is one of those decks that I can't wait to test out, honestly. Now, there's 19 land total, and one of them being a Crucible of Defiance. No Mishra's Foundry this time, but we could consider it, honestly. Sometimes whenever we have like a lot of red 1-drops and a lot of things that cost red 2, like the reconfigure cost on Rabbit Battery, for example, then I don't like to include the Foundry because I don't want it to get in the way. But honestly, yeah, we got enough like just artifacts, like colorless artifacts, that I don't think a couple Mishra's Foundry would get in the way, but it might, honestly. So, well, maybe not. We do have all the treasures too. Yeah, maybe consider a couple Mishra's Foundry for this one. You guys will have to let me know in the comments, huh? Either way, I hope you liked this one. Yeah, only 7 new cards in here, but I'm very, very excited to try this deck out, so let's go ahead and check out the next one. Next up, let's take a look at Goblins. What do we got in here? Cacophony Scamp, rocking 4 of them. A 1 mana 1/1. Whenever Cacophony Scamp deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. If you do, proliferate. And proliferate is choose any number of permanents and or players, then give each another counter of each kind already there. So that's pretty neat. When Cacophony Scamp dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. Nice, very powerful ability. This is going to be an awesome one. So we have a single Churning Reservoir in here. A 1 mana artifact. We do have a small artifact theme in here, which is awesome. We'll go over why in a second. So 1 mana artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, put an oil counter on another target non-token artifact or creature you control. And then for 2 mana, you can tap it. Create a 1/1 red Phyrexian Goblin creature token. Activate only if an oil counter was removed from a permanent you controlled this turn, or a permanent with an oil counter on it was put into the graveyard this turn. So not bad. I think it'll be worth testing out at least one of them in here. So yeah. Got 4 experimental synthesizers, like I said, small artifact theme going on in here, and this is a powerful one. 4 exuberant fuselings. So this is a 1 mana 0/1 with trample. Fuseling gets +1/+0 for each oil counter on it when exuberant fuseling enters the battlefield, and whenever another creature or artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put an oil counter on exuberant fuseling. Pretty cool. This is a neat little goblin, huh? I love that it has trample, so hopefully you'll be getting a ton of damage through with this, even though pretty much anything the opponent blocks with will probably kill the fuseling, but you know, it's still a really neat one, huh? Speaking of really neat ones, guys. Okay, Gleeful Demolition, 1 mana sorcery. Destroy target artifact. If you controlled that artifact, create 3 1/1 red Phyrexian Goblin creature tokens. 3 of them, guys. Woo, buddy, this is a cool one. Definitely worth having the artifact theme in here. We're going to have a ton of ways, just to get extra artifacts to sacrifice to this. It's not sacrificing, right? You're destroying the target artifact. Going wide with goblins can be huge, and then eventually buff that wide goblin board state and win the game. Sounds good to me, huh? Okay, we have 4 Kumano faces Kakkazans, just a powerful 1-drop. The counter comes into play with like the Scamp's Proliferate, which is pretty cool. Yeah, just a sweet one. Voldaren Epicure, rocking all 4 of them. That extra bit of damage from Epicure is awesome, but then the blood token is way more important because of the Gleeful Demolition, and then also rocking all 4 Voltage Surge too, so having those extra artifacts to potentially deal 4 damage off the Voltage Surge sounds pretty good to me. 2 decks in a row rocking a single Gilded Pinions. Weird, right? It's like I like this card or something. So, just in case you skipped ahead here, this is a 2 mana equipment. And when it enters the battlefield, you create a treasure token. So, it's 2 artifacts for the price of 1. So, that's pretty cool, huh? Equipped creature has flying, and then you can equip for 2. It's not half bad, guys. Yeah, just getting 2 artifacts onto the board sounds really powerful. You can ditch the treasure to like a Gleeful Demolition, but maybe you want the treasure to play another card, so you can just ditch the pinions to the demolition, keep the treasure, huh? So we have a single Goro-Goro in here, a pretty powerful goblin, only 1. It is a legendary creature, and it might be worth talking about 2 of them in here, because for only 1 red mana, creatures you control gain haste until end of turn, which could be really powerful if you're going wide with the Gleeful Demolition, or just playing a bunch of like 1-drops out of your hand on the same turn. Rundvelt Hordemaster finally finds a small home here. Really hope Goblins can do something so Hordemaster can see more play. Should probably go over this real quick because we just rarely see it, huh? 2 mana 1/1, other Goblins you control get +1/+1. When Hordemaster or another Goblin you control dies, exile the top card of your library. If it's a Goblin creature card, you may cast that card until the end of your next turn. Pretty cool one, guys. And just, yeah, buffing that wide board state, huh? Sounds good. We have 3 Chandra Dress to Kill. I mean, it's just a powerful top end that helps us find those 1-drops off the top or cast those 1-drops with that top ability and get extra damage through too. Yeah, I don't think anyone's surprised seeing Chandra here. Couple Squees, Dubious Monarchs, which we might want to squeeze 1 more Squee in here, right? Have 3 of them instead since it can help us generate more goblins, but I think 2 is going to be fine overall. The very top end, we have a single Mishra's Onslaught, a 4 mana instant speed. We get to choose one of these abilities. You can create 2 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature tokens, or creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. So again, bluffing that wide board state, just swinging in with all those goblins, giving +2/+0 to something like the Fuseling, which has Trample, which is pretty cool too. So this card can just close out games, but maybe you're not closing it out just yet, and maybe you need more artifacts on the board. A couple 1/1 soldier artifact creature tokens might go a long way, huh? 19 total land, and one of them being a Crucible of Defiance, and kind of the same argument for why there's no Mishra's Foundry in here. Maybe we want one, but I don't think so. This is a lot of red sources to be playing out every single turn, so... Okay, that's that, guys. I hope I'm going over all of these well enough, because it doesn't seem to be taking me too much time, but yeah, either way, let's check out the next list. Changing up pace here for deck list number 3, Koth Midrange. What do we got in the build? A single Gleeful Demolition. We just went over the card, but just in case you're skipping around the video, this is a 1 mana sorcery speed, destroy target artifact. If you controlled that artifact, create 3 1/1 red Phyrexian goblin creature tokens. This could be a great way to get some chump blockers down if you really need them. Also, just being able to take out early artifacts from your opponent could be really good too, like Reckoner Bankbuster, for example, right? It's a powerful one. So we have a couple of braids in here. Destroy target artifact. Yep, sounds good to me. Also, just being able to take out early threats is important. Couple Reckoner Bankbusters. It's a mid-range build. Bankbuster is going to be sweet in here. 4 Fable of the Mirror Breakers. No one's surprised, huh? Single Celestis. Like I said, we got that artifact theme, and this helps us ramp, which is beautiful. 4 Thran Spiders here. Getting that Power Stone token hopefully will help us more than it helps the opponents, and honestly, a 2/4 with Reach does a lot more than you'd expect. The bottom ability is alright as well. Got 3 big scores in here. Helping us ramp is awesome. The 2 treasure tokens is actually just kind of huge in a deck like this, huh? Here we are, guys. 4 Koths. Fire of Resistance. This is a 4 mana, 4 loyalty planeswalker. It has a +2 here. Search your library for a basic mountain card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Okay, The -3, Koth Fire of Resistance deals damage to target creature equal to the number of mountains you control. Okay, so that can do a decent amount of damage, huh? -7, you get an emblem with whenever a mountain enters the battlefield under your control, this emblem deals 4 damage to any target. Okay, so that's a pretty cool ultimate, huh? Now, in this deck, we have 26 total land, and all of them are mountains, so awesome. I'm interested to see how much Koth can actually do, because honestly, on the surface, it doesn't look like it can do too much, but being able to keep our hand stocked with a land to play every turn could be huge in a deck like this, where we definitely want to see a land every turn when we just have a bunch of expensive stuff to spend it on. So yeah, burn down the house, guys. We got 4 of them in here. Pretty powerful board wipe that can also help you end games. I mean, you guys know burn down the house by now, huh? All 4, Mightstone and Weakstone. Just a terrific artifact because target creature. So let's read this whole thing real quick, even though you guys probably know it at this point. 5 mana, and when it enters the battlefield, you get to choose one of these. You can either draw 2 cards, which is sweet, or have target creature get -5/-5 until end of turn, which is a pretty huge ability that you can play in a red deck because, yeah, it's an artifact. And then you can tap this to add a double colorless mana. This mana can't be spent to cast non-artifact spells. So this is actually perfect for a red mid-range style list, huh? I love it. No reason worrying about the fact that it's a legendary artifact because it's actually pretty good to just play your second one down. Either way, you get that ETB. So on the top end, guys, we have 4 Cityscape Levelers helping us take cards out on the opponent's board and helping us just end the game. And the Unearth on this is actually really powerful too, because early in the game, you can discard Cityscape Leveler to your like Fable of the Mirrorbreaker or your big score, then eventually unearth that as well. Then a single Portal to Phyrexia helping us clear the opponent's board and end the game as well. Pretty awesome list, huh? I think Koth is going to be pretty... I don't know if like 4 of them is going to be worth it, but I definitely want to try the deck with 4 right out the gate. And then as always, like in a deck like this, I never play enough removal, and I get that, right? But in this list in particular, the removal is very expensive. So if somehow aggro just runs away with the meta somehow, then we're going to need more top-end removal for sure. This one is one that you definitely don't want to craft. Like, this is one where I'm going to be testing it out, and I bet a lot of people are going to be trying red mid-range, probably with like 1 Koth or something, but I'm going to try a bunch of them at least. It depends how many of them I pull from my first packs as well, but either way, yeah, I think this one's going to be a fun one. I think having all 26 lands be mountains is interesting as well, but yeah, either way, that's the list, guys. Again, hopefully I'm going over these well enough. They seem relatively easy to go over, especially lists like this where we don't have too many new cards in here, just the Koth and the Gleeful Demolition. So yeah, either way, let's go into the next list. 4th deck list of the evening, Mono Red Aggro. Nothing fancy here, but a bunch of new cards packed in here. So, Cacophony Scamp and Exuberant Fuseling making an appearance again, but just in case you are skipping around the video, we will briefly go over them. Cacophony Scamp is a 1-mana 1/1, and when it deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. If you do, proliferate. When Cacophony Scamp dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. Pretty cool. Fuseling is a 1-mana 0/1 with Trample, and it gets +1/+0 for each oil counter on it. And then, when it enters the battlefield, or whenever another creature or artifact you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, put an oil counter on Exuberant Fuseling. Pretty cool 1-drop, guys. This is like one of those decks, though, that maybe this should just be like a Monastery Swift Spear, right? Because it's such a powerful 1-drop already, but I'm interested to see how good these guys actually are together, you know? So, 4 Kumano faces Kakkazan, no one surprised, huh? 4 Phoenix Chick, just a terrific flying haste 1-drop, and I love it so much. 3 Shivon Devastators here. Now, I think it's going to work well with the Proliferate on Scamp, so that's cool, but also Devastator, like, why don't we see this that much anymore? It's a little bit surprising, right? Flying haste, and when it enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. I'm just a little bit surprised we don't see Devastator too much. So we have 4 Bloodthirsty Adversaries, just a powerful hasty 2-drop that's great, of course, to play after a turn 1 Kumano, but also late game, being able to bring stuff back in this deck in particular could be very, very powerful. So we have 4 Lightning Strikes, just a powerful instant. A couple Chandras, powerful Planeswalker, right? Yep, bunch of powerful cards packed in here, so I apologize for saying the word powerful so much. We have 4 Urabrask's Forge. This one's really cool, guys. So yeah, all 4 of them in here. 3 mana, artifact. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put an oil counter on Urabrask's Forge. Then create an X1 red Phyrexian horror creature token with trample and haste, where X is the number of oil counters on Urabrask's Forge. Sacrifice that token at the beginning of the next end step. I think this card can be actually pretty insane, huh? You get a couple of these down and every single turn it's just pumping out creatures for you, and every single turn those creatures are getting a little bit more powerful. Then you have cards like Scamp that could help you proliferate to get more oil counters on this, because it's any number of permanents when you proliferate, so it works with the Forge, so that's pretty cool. I don't know, man. I think it looks really powerful. It looks like a great way for red to just end games, and I think it's going to be... I think it's going to be high up on the opponent's remove list, right? Like the opponent's going to want to hit Forge as soon as possible. Last card here, 4 Volt Charge. Apparently this is a reprint because, yeah, we're rocking the old art here. So this is a 3 mana instant speed. It deals 3 damage to target creature or player, and then you proliferate. And I should go over proliferate real quick. So you choose any number of permanents and or players with counters on them, then give each another counter of a kind already there. That's pretty neat, guys. So that actually just works with the Urabrask's Forge, works with Chandra, it works with the Devastator. Phoenix Chick potentially can get counters. The counters from Kumano, the oil counters on Fuseling. Like, yeah, there's just like the counters on Bloodthirsty, so this is kind of mono red proliferate in a sense, right? And then of course, since this is a 3 mana instant for 5 mana, when you get the Bloodthirsty Adversary down, you could always cast a Volt Charge back from the grave, which sounds really powerful too, huh? 23 total land, one of them being a Crucible of Defiance, and once again, there is no Mishra's Foundry in here because of all of this red mana that we need every single turn. So yeah, that's the list, guys. Again, hopefully I'm going over these well enough. Urabrask's Forge looks like just a ridiculous build-around card. We'll see though, huh? Maybe it belongs more so in a deck that actually cares that the creatures are sacrificing themselves, but at the same time, I just think it's going to be a great way for red to push through that extra damage. Let's check out the last list of the evening, shall we? It's time for the last list of the evening, and I saved a cool one for last, guys. Red Mayhem. What do we got in here? Couple End the Festivities, gonna work beautifully with a couple of the cards in here we'll go over in just a second. 4 Kumano faces Kakkazan, no one surprised. 4 Monastery Swiftspear, there you are, huh? 4 Play with Fires. 4 Sawblade Scamps, here's a new one. 1 mana, 1/1. Haste, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on Sawblade Scamp. Then you can tap it, remove an oil counter from Sawblade Scamp. It deals 1 damage to each opponent. Yeah, pretty cool one, guys. I'm actually really excited to see how good this is actually going to be. You know, I'm not convinced that it's just like ultra powerful or anything, but in a deck like this, I think it's going to be pretty decent. So we have 2 Bloodthirsty Adversaries to be able to pull some cards back from the grave. It's just a powerful 2-drop, we know it. We got 4 Kasig Flame Breathers, huh? 2 mana, 1/3, and when you cast a non-creature spell, Kasig Flame Breather deals 1 damage to each opponent. Beautiful. All 4 Lightning Strikes, of course. Couple Chandras, yep. 4 Mechanized Warfare, let's go, huh? Mechanized Warfare is going to work wonders in here already. Last card of the deck, guys. It's a new one here. I had to pull it up on the side to read it. Sulfum Mayhem Dominus. This is a 4 mana legendary creature, 5/4. If a source you control would deal non-combat damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals double that damage to that player or permanent instead. And then for 1 and 2 red Phyrexian mana, discard 2 cards, put an indestructible counter on Sulfum Mayhem Dominus. Okay, yeah, pretty neat one, huh? We got all 3 of them in here. I mean, I called it Red Mayhem for a reason, huh? I think it's going to be a sweet 4-drop. I'm interested to see how good it's actually going to be. And I don't know how often we're actually going to do that bottom ability to discard 2 cards to give it indestructible, but you never know. Might come in handy, huh? Then we're rocking 23 mana in here, and of course one of them is a Crucible of Defiance, and once again, no Mishra's Foundries. I wonder if that is a mistake for me not to add any Mishra's Foundries to any of these. Once again, it comes down to so many red 1-drops that you always want to be able to cast, but yeah, Foundry's a pretty good land too, so it might be worth having 1 or 2 of them in here. Either way, guys, let me know what you thought of all the deck lists down in the comments. Let me know which one you're most excited for me to try out. Like, as always, whenever the new set releases, the first deck I try is, of course, Mono Red Aggro. I don't know which one I want to start with, guys. They all look like they're going to be so much fun. I think this one in particular, like, it looks like it's going to be really fast, but it's probably actually going to be pretty slow because you're trying to set up a nice board state. You know, you're spending your turn 3 to get a mechanized warfare down, for example. But once it gets the ball rolling and you get your mayhem down, oh man, that damage is going to be big, big damage, huh? Either way, guys, hey, thank you so much for being here. If you guys made it this far into the video, then y'all are champions, and I super duper appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video.